little coach of the year here, Michael, because I feel like Dan Campbell has had this stranglehold of being the favorite in the market forever, but there's got to be some other options out there as we wind down the season. Who are you liking for coach of the year right now?
Well, look, I mean, Jacksonville losing Sunday night to Baltimore, and Trevor Lawrence in doubt whether he's going to be able to play this week against Tampa, and D'Amico Ryans' ball club gets to host Cleveland, who we know is not a great road team, right? And Cleveland, for all that, for the win last week, they're so beat up offensively and defensively. I'm not sure how good of a team they can bring to Houston with them. I think you got to give him strong consideration, right? Steichen, I think you have to give him. They're both in the same zone, 350 plus 350. Steichen's team, if he wins in Atlanta and he can continue to win, as bad as they are on defense, I think he deserves a lot of credit. But Stefanski at 14-1 to me is somebody that's not going to win the award, but should get some strong consideration because he's dealing with a backup. He's dealing with his four-string quarterback who he took off the couch. He's got every offensive lineman has been hurt. He's replaced all his tackles, with backups, and then the backups got hurt. Lost his best running back. I don't know what else to say, and the guy's got 9 wins. The guy's kept the team together for 9 wins. I mean, that's what Coach of the Year does. Finds ways to win games that perhaps he shouldn't. Meanwhile, we're talking about Robert Saleh, who's, can't keep anything together, not even a sewing group, and he's coming back next year like it's no big deal. Like it's no big deal. Everything's fine. Worst offense in the history. I mean, historically bad offense. Historically bad. Like I said on my podcast, they should just give the charter to Aaron Rodgers. Let him own the team. Because if they're doing everything like this for where are they going to be in 2025? Don't be a Jet fan in 2025 because it's going to be ugly.
Well, yeah, and I saw actually earlier this morning Diana Rossini talking on a program about how, Aaron Rodgers wants Robert Saleh to be his coach. And obviously we already know the love affair that he has with Nathaniel Hackett as his coordinator. So those guys get a total mulligan, it appears, on this season because actually it turns out Aaron Rodgers is the owner of the team.
Exactly.
That's I mean, he's done everything that he's wanted. He's brought in the pieces that he wants. He's with his coordinator. I mean, it's not like the receivers and Randall Cobb and Alan Lazard have been lighting it up for this offense, but
or Billy Turner or any of the guys. I mean, at some point, you got to play and we got to own, and you got to play and I'm going to coach. This never works. This LeBron-ish mentality. When does it work? When does it work? It doesn't. I think Rodgers is a tremendous player. The fact that we're talking about him coming back now with the injury he had is ridiculous. The fact that the Jets, we're not talking about why can't the Jets win without they're supposed to be such a great defensive team. Why can't they win? Cleveland, on the other hand, Stefanski 14-1, he's finding ways to win. What's going on here? They're on their 4th quarterback. They can't win because we lost one guy? Come on now.
Yeah, a couple updates to that situation. By the way, Saleh did say on Monday that Zach Wilson, once he's through concussion protocol, will be the starting quarterback once again. Aaron Rodgers on the Pat McAfee show today. It's Pat McAfee Tuesdays. One of the quotes that came out that said, if he were 100%, he would be pushing to come back, but he's not there yet. Quote, being medically cleared as 100% healed is not realistic at 14 weeks. No kidding. That's what we've been saying the entire time. And what we said yesterday, it would be absolutely criminal to put Aaron Rodgers behind that offensive line, knowing how terrible that group is.
It would be criminal. It would be. How about putting him behind this offense? This is what cracks me up. Is at what point do we say this is the worst offense in all? I mean, everybody knows how to attack it. It's okay. So we had the second half of the Houston game where they made a couple throws. This is day one install of the West Coast offense. I mean, this is really, it hasn't had the update. This would be like running your software on, the first version of Microsoft. Like the first version of Word. There's been no update here at all. It's just basic, and everybody knows it. And Nathaniel, he did it in Denver, and he's doing it here. Where's the evidence that it's going to get fixed? Because Rodgers is going to come back in?
No. In a word, no, Michael. And I'm glad that you've been on this train all season long and that other people are finally starting to catch up, that it's been unrealistic. It hasn't worked. And we'll just have to wait and see what's going to transpire next year. To go back to Coach of the Year, though, again, Dan Campbell, your favorite at 2-1, Steichen and D'Amico Ryans both at plus 350, Kyle Shanahan plus 450, Mike McDaniel plus 650, and Stefanski at 14-1. Zach Taylor also interesting at 15-1, given some of their struggles from a health perspective and what they're doing with Jake Browning now. But I was interested when you said Kevin Stefanski, he won't win it, but why do you think he won't win it? Because I love everything you were just saying about the struggles they've had to overcome from a health standpoint on their fourth quarterback, Joe Flacco off the couch with multiple 300-yard games, overcoming to win tough late situations. Like, I love the argument, and they're a team that hasn't made the playoffs in the last handful of years.
Well, the reason he won't win is because the most of the voters don't understand how hard it is to win 9 games in the league. They think it's easy. That's why Marty Schottenheimer's not in the Hall of Fame, because he didn't win a big game. You know, he's got 200 wins. He's one of 8 gentlemen that call themselves head coaches out of 520-some that have won 200 games. But the media that votes thinks it's easy to win games. We have people on our network, they think, oh, it's easy to win 9 games. You know, it's easy to win that. Yeah, you should win that game. They have no idea how hard it is to win an NFL game, how hard it is. And as the betting network, we know how hard it is to handicap them because the ball goes wrong one way, the other way. You know, you got the handicap wrong, but you won the game, but you can handicap right and you lost the game. We see it. But there's no respect for a team that rises above and overcomes. It just doesn't get there. And I think because everybody just assumes it's easy to win.
Well, and the Lions story, I feel like they started to turn it around midway through the season, right? Like they have that incredible win streak at the end of the year. So they picked up on a high note and carried that over. And even despite that, like I'm not a huge believer in Detroit. I know they're a 10-win team right now, and you just said how hard it is to win games, absolutely. But they're kind of one of those paper tiger type teams to me, and they've started to show their true colors. I mean, obviously last game they had a great bounce back, but I feel like a lot more of what we've seen the 3 games prior were kind of who Detroit is. So I'm not in love with Dan Campbell to win as a runaway either.
Yeah, we're going to find out Dan Campbell where they are offensively when Ben Johnson, who's going out to the highest bidder once the season's over, and when he loses him. I mean, where is this program going to go? And then we'll see. Look, I think Campbell's done a really good job. You can't take that away from him. He's taken a program that's been poor, but he's had not really to have overcome a lot. He's playing against Green Bay with Jordan Love. Minnesota's lost. I think Stefanski. I think Kevin O'Connell. He wouldn't win it, but he's done as good a job as you. He's done a much better job than Robert Saleh. He hasn't put his tail between his legs and blamed, oh, I lost Kirk Cousins, everything. I'm just going to lose. You know, so I think that's what happens. Some of the best coaching jobs are done on these 9-win teams. I mean, Mike Tomlin last year. Say whatever you want about Mike Tomlin. That was one of the best coaching jobs. To get that team turned around and get it back into contention the way he did is really remarkable.
No, I'm with you. From an odd standpoint, though, I think my personal favorites and guys that, especially if they close the season strong, I'd have the most interest in is DeMeco Ryans and Kevin Stefanski. And Ryans, obviously, we got the update from him yesterday. C.J. Stroud remains in the concussion protocol. They're going to see how he progresses throughout the week. An important game coming up this week, as you referenced already, against that Browns team. But they're a team that so many people doubted, thought it was going to be ugly in year 1 for him, and he's done a remarkable job with that group.
He really has. I mean, look, they went in. I thought he made a great decision to play Case Keenum, over Davis Mills. I thought that was a really good decision. And then that team hung around. I mean, they just hung around, and Tennessee couldn't put them away. Tennessee had more than an opportunity to put them away. They're up 13-3 at the half, and they can only muster 3 points in the second half. Whereas Vrabel's team, he's got no quarterbacking play. He can't get anything going running. I mean, what did he have? 9 carries or 19 carries for 6 yards in the game or something like that? They couldn't even figure out how to stop the run game. Give them credit. And look, I think the one thing we miss about Houston, their special teams are good. Their special teams are good. They create field position for their offense.
Derrick Henry, I want to say the stat that I saw, Michael, was that he's the first player ever to have 20 touches in a game and have fewer than 15 yards. He had 10 total yards on the day, rushing and receiving on 20 touches. And I mean, we talked going into the game about how, they're going to run the football, like da-da-da-da.
I thought they would.
Couldn't to save their life. It was crazy. I was stunned. No.
Yeah, me too. I mean, that's what cost them the game. Because they could never run the ball, they could never take the pressure off of Will Levis, and he can't handle anything. Where the game's on his shoulders, it's going to be ugly.
Go to VSiN.com/subscribe to become a VSiN Pro subscriber today.